Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have a TPO hearing with a woman who claims that her neighbor has been harassing her for the last 6 years, ever since she gave a statement to the police against him after a scuffle he was in with a different neighbor. She says that anytime she goes outside, he shows up to call her a bitch and scream his catchphrase at her. What is this catchphrase she finds so intimidating? Let's find out.
Yeah. Okay, so Ms. Hurley, I think you're here in the courtroom somewhere. Why don't you come on up to the table there? Mark Neal, are you out there in Zoom? Mark Neal.
I am here.
All right, unmute, start your camera. We're gonna take up case 25163. Yeah, let's see. Just give me a moment as I get everything organized here.
You're cleared.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Hurley, let me put you under oath. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Neal, raise your right hand with me. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Your Honor.
Okay, so this is case number 25163. Ms. Hurley has asked for an order to be issued against you, Mr. Neal. When a temporary order has not been issued, but today is the day to determine if there should or shouldn't be an order under the unlawful harassment laws. I see, Mr. Neal, I'm a little concerned about service. I see a return of service. What did you receive?
I received, let's see, basically everything I saw online as far as evidence submitted, other
So
than.
you saw the petition, you've gotten the
Yes.
petition, it says in the upper right-hand corner, petition for protection order, multiple page document.
Notice of hearing, yeah, petition for protection order, yes.
Okay, good. All right, so that's what I was worried about. The person who served you didn't indicate they gave you that, but you've got that. All right, so first off, Ms. Hurley, are you still asking the court to issue this order?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Neal, do you have an objection to this order issuing?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me kind of look at things here. Ms. Hurley, are you prepared to present your case for this hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not going to be thinking you should have brought someone else or other evidence. You're ready today.
Nope, I'm ready.
You're ready today. All right. So Mr. Neal, are you prepared to respond to this request?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, so there isn't another day. Today is it, right? You're ready. Okay. All right, let me, as I said, I've reviewed about 18 different petitions today, so let me just re-review so I know where we are. Right, so I'm going to turn first to Ms. Hurley. Your petition's pretty scant, doesn't say a whole lot. And so I need to hear from you why you think Mr. Neal has committed unlawful harassment against you such that I should issue an order.
This actually goes back about 6 years. There was an altercation between the neighbor and I was present during the altercation. My side of the story and the neighbor's side of the story had matched. The police officers were there.
So what caused you to come to court? And then maybe we can go backwards.
He hasn't stopped. He has a catchphrase. He intimidates, he harasses. I submitted
You gotta tell me what he does. So why did you finally come to court after 6 years?
So his granddaughter and my daughter are friends.
All right.
And I have called the non-emergency number many a times, and they said just due to the fact that I do not have a contact order, no contact order, there's nothing that can be done. He's not physical. He is harassing. He yells, he calls my name, he calls me names.
What kind of names?
He's called me a bitch. He's called me a liar. He has yelled at my son, but that's nor here nor there. But I've asked him plenty of times. I had the video submitted from August. I work for the state. I was telecommuting. He is yelling at my neighbors through the fence. I had come out to witness that and videotape this
And that was
August incident that's in
August
there.
of 2024.
Yes,
So what
correct. This was
happened
last August.
recently? What happened that caused you to come to court? Why did you finally come to court?
Due to the fact that my daughter now drives, has a job and is independent, I no have to longer worry about that burden when his granddaughter comes over.
Okay.
I don't have to worry about that burden. And that's been the big thing. So now that she's independent,
Right.
he came out one Sunday morning and it was a 6:40, 6:30, 6:45, 7:40 in the morning. And he's over in his yard and he's just singing his little catchphrase he gives to me that he's done. He always says, I'm waiting. He is waiting for me to change my testimony about the incident that happened 6 years ago. He's been yelling. I've asked him many, many of times to please just leave me alone. I've had to go to the doctor due to anxiety. I didn't leave my house. That is on the tape. I've asked him many of times. I finally put a privacy fence on my side, not connected to our fences, but I did put a privacy vine up. So he just leave me alone. And it's nonstop. It's nonstop. This last Sunday, right
I gotta
before,
understand what's nonstop. So you think he
every
wants you to
time
apologize?
every
Is that
time I
it?
leave my house,
Okay.
he yells, I'm waiting, or he yelled over his lawnmower the other day when I was walking my dog. I personally go around the other side and avoid him. I do never respond. I never talk back, except for this Sunday.
Okay.
I let my dog out and all I hear is, I'm waiting, singing, mocking, whatever. And I just finally said, please, just leave me alone. And he goes, I will never leave you alone, ever, ever. So that kind of threatened me. That kind of scared me a little. And I said, Mark, I'm just going to call the cops. And he goes, ha, ha, ha. No, you won't. That was enough for me to take charge, take control. I need to put this in order. I would like for him to just leave me alone.
Okay.
Stop talking to me. Please quit calling me names. Please quit intimidating me. My kids, leave my animals alone. Don't come near me.
So what is he? All right. So let me kind of detail
Sure.
that.
Sure.
What does he do to the kids?
Well, he was harassing my son for a little bit. And unfortunately, I unconnected the Ring camera
So
and
in
I
what,
didn't
in
send
what
it.
way? What does harassing mean? What did
He
he?
just was, like, I'm not sure what he said to my son, but my son came in and said, hey, Mark's saying stuff to me. And I was like, okay, what'd you do? He said, I walked away. So he walked away. I did bring it up in the video, said, please leave my son alone.
And that was back in August.
That was back in August. And
Okay.
I've asked him time and time again. I just haven't had much contact with them, but it's just getting to the point where it's almost scary and and it's not okay. I have 2 kids at home.
So you say he bothers your animals? What does that mean?
I don't know if he does or not. I just
Okay.
want to make sure my animals, I don't want him to
don't know.
poison my animals through. I know he has dogs, so I would assume he would not do that, but I just need to protect everybody in my house.
So you don't know.
I don't know.
So August of 2024, then that event.
That event was big.
Mhm.
I work for the superintendent's office and I was telecommuting. And he was outside yelling at the neighbors. That was the fight that the same people that he got into an incident with 6 years ago.
Mhm.
I took my camera outside and I said, Mark, I am on a state meeting. And if someone hears you screaming, yelling, cursing, racial, whatever you're yelling over there, if someone hears that, they can call the cops. I'm telecommuting. They need to make sure I'm safe and I can work at home. And that's when I asked him to just leave me alone. He came at me at the fence. I tried to banter with it. I just couldn't do it anymore.
So he said, come at you at the fence. What does that
He
mean?
came from his side of the yard to my side of the yard to state his point. He's been trying to state his point for 6 years that he wants me to change my story from the fight that he got into. He wants me to change my story. He pushed my neighbor and my neighbor punched him in the face. And
Had
unfortunately,
you had to go to court to testify or something?
no,
or-
we
Did you give
we
information?
we
to
did. We had
law
police reports
enforcement?
at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was
that's
6
what-
years ago.
And so you talked to police about an event that happened 6 years ago.
At that time.
And you've
Yep.
been hearing about it since.
And I have literally, not only has it not led up, it's increased a little bit more each week. I mean, he was
Meaning?
served on that Thursday, the 6th, and on Sunday morning, the 9th, which I did not put in there. He was harassing me at 6:45 AM and I called the police
When was
again.
this? Back in August?
No, just this last Sunday on the 9th.
6th.
And I called the police
Okay,
officer and he
yeah, yeah.
said, try to get him on recording, but I've been taking my phone out every single time I let my dog out. And I don't think that's okay.
All right.
I just want to
So-
live in peace.
All right, so the August 24th event happens, you go out, it's the same. And then since August 24th, it's a long time, almost 10 months. So
It doesn't stop.
what does that mean? How often during the day?
Anytime, like if I let my dog out in the morning, I'll just get that I'm waiting over the fence. So immediately I'm anxious, I'm nervous. That scares me. I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know what he's capable of. I'm not gonna retaliate. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not doing that. I've got kids that are watching me. Absolutely not. So and when
Right.
this police officer came in, or when I spoke to this police officer on the 2nd, I said, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to put a no contact order.
So
I
when
just need
you-
him to leave me
right,
alone.
So when you go out for the dog, so this is a daily event?
If he's out there in the morning,
out,
yeah, if he's
right.
out there, he'll say something.
All right, and then, so you share a property line,
We share a fence,
obviously, a
yep.
fence.
Yep,
And do you share any roads or anything?
we share a
Alright,
sidewalk. I mean, I have a public sidewalk, but I don't even want him on my sidewalk.
well.
I know.
alright.
I mean, and that's what I requested because I can't request feet because he is my
Okay.
neighbor.
All right, and so you just want him to stop talking to you?
Yeah, and please stop harassing me.
And that
I can't say
means-
anything for the neighbors because that's
What
on
does
the
that mean
neighbors.
to you?
Stop saying I'm waiting, stop smirking and murking and all of that kind of stuff. Basically, stop being a bully. I'm 49 years old. Like my kids are teenagers, you know, it's really difficult, but I've held my ground and I've stood on what I believe that at this point, this is a legal matter.
So stop talking to you. Stop.
Like,
look-
stop
smirking.
yelling at me,
Stop
stop
yelling.
yelling at me.
Don't
Stop telling me
communicate.
to change my story and that he said in the video, he will hold this burden till his grave. That's harassment, that's intimidation. And when he said that he will never, ever give up,
Mhm.
that's enough to make that scary.
So so tell me, why is that scary to you?
Because I don't know what he's capable of.
Right.
He does not let it go. I said, I'm so sorry that we disagree. I've asked him many a times, I'm sorry that we have different perspectives of the situation that happened 6 years ago. He won't let it go and he refuses to let it go. And that's why it's come to this.
And the 6 years ago was, you
Was a-
watched
yeah.
him do what?
I watched an altercation where he pushed my neighbor and my neighbor unfortunately was able to defend himself and punch him.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was really disheartened that his story wasn't the same as ours. He told everybody the cops lied, everything. So it's I just don't know what to do on my part anymore. So I filed for this no contact order.
So you're asserting that since August, at least of 2024, whenever you take the dogs out, he's there saying, I'm waiting, and confronting you about
Yeah.
something. And that would be at least once a day or twice a day.
Well, and once a week, it could be every other day. I mean, I take my dog out. I have lunch at 11 o'clock every day. I took my dog out. I noticed he was mowing his lawn about a week ago, right before this order. And I purposely went across the street and went around the block. His lawnmower was still going and he screamed at the top of his lungs, I'm waiting.
You said in your petition that he's yelling slurs, quote unquote slurs.
Oh,
What
he
does
calls,
that mean?
well, he yells racial slurs at the neighbors because they are not Caucasian. So whatever he yells at them, I can't prove except for what
What's
was
he
on that
yelling at
video.
you? What's he yelling at you?
Oh, he calls me a bitch. He calls me, whatever names that he chooses for the day. But I've asked him very kindly, don't call me names.
Okay, so,
I've asked him,
all right,
I just don't want to be called names. I'm 49 years old.
all right. And
All right, and so then kind of a daily event, and finally you end up here.
Yep.
Just because anything special
I
happened
don't
that
know.
caused you to come in?
I don't know what he's capable of. I don't know what he's physically capable of.
Mhm.
Is he so angry at me? Will he slash a tire? Will he throw an egg in a vehicle?
So
Will
it's just-
he,
so
does he
it's-
have weapons?
Yeah, we're all supposing, but
Right,
so,
and that's
so
why
it's
I
kind of
want to
the
protect myself.
culmination that caused you
Yes.
to come. There wasn't anything in particular.
And the mental stability, I don't know where, where everybody is at.
But
And I
there
just,
wasn't any particular new event. It's just
no,
a daily
not
event.
between just the way he said it that Sunday, me filing. My daughter's old enough to go see his granddaughter, you know, at the mall or whatever nowadays. I don't have to worry
have
about
to be
that.
in this-
I don't have to worry about that factor anymore.
Okay.
And that was a huge factor. And honestly, Judge, I honestly would have done this 6 years ago
Mhm.
had it not been for his granddaughter and my daughter.
You were afraid of what?
I just was afraid that it wasn't fair to the girls because two adults need to fight. Why would we need to do that? He's nice to my daughter.
Okay,
He's very nice to my daughter, but he's not nice to me.
okay.
So my daughter's not allowed to go over there. So she just now knows that she can see his granddaughter elsewhere. And we've made plans for that kind of thing. So,
All right.
yeah.
And you're saying that, when did it cause you to start having anxiety that needed medical attention?
It's been going a long time and it was, I had to actually increase my meds after this August incident. I didn't bring the medical documentation. I didn't think about that, but I had to increase my meds at that time. So,
And you're attributing that completely to his,
well, it's 99% at this time that, I mean, because it's just gotten too much, too close, too much. It's all the time now,
okay,
you know?
all right. And all the time means daily.
Yeah, not, I don't want to say daily, if not once a week, twice a week,
Okay.
but he refuses, he will not say anything. If the neighbors are out, I watched my neighbor's dog. I was taking stuff over to the neighbor's house the other day. My other neighbors were out. My son was working on his car. He was packing his car, whatever he was doing for the day. He didn't say anything to anybody,
Okay.
you know, only when nobody's around. It's really hard.
And how have you told him to stop, to leave you alone and not talk to you?
Most of the time I just ignore him, but this last time I said, you have got to leave me alone. You have to let this go. And he said he will never ever let it go. He's gonna
Okay.
basically do this until he's in a grave. I don't know.
So that actually sounds like something new.
No, that's
No,
all the
you've
time.
Said that before.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
never leave you
all the
alone.
time. He said he will never ever let it go. Even
Okay.
says on the video, I will take this to my grave.
Okay. And so you're taking that he's gonna continue.
I'm now
to
taking it
taunt.
literally because
He's gonna
after
taunt
6
you
years,
forever.
yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Anything else before I turn to Mr. Neal?
No, I've never done any reciprocation to him. I've never harassed him. I've never said any names to him. I just want him to know that this situation, it's not okay. And that he needs to not harass me anymore.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Neal, you've heard and you've read what's being alleged. Let me hear from you.
Okay, first of all, Judge, may I ask if you have seen the video evidence that Ms. Hurley submitted?
Yes, so let's talk about that.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to clarify that that particular incident occurred something on the order of 2 to 3 years ago, not last year. And it happened about a few months after the incident with my other neighbor.
All right.
Earlier that spring or something like that.
So your recall, 2 to 3 years, not 6.
Exactly,
May
exactly.
I ask it, peace. I'm hearing
Yes,
from
ma'am,
Mr.
sorry.
So
So-
just to clarify that, as far as what has been happening since then, since 2 to 3 years ago, since that video incident or the incident that was recorded, basically, lately, yes, I will every once in a while mention 2 words to her, still waiting.
What does that mean to you?
I'm waiting for her to apologize, for her to acknowledge the lies that she had told the cops.
All right.
I was
And
unable.
why do you say that? Why do you say that to her repeatedly?
When you are assaulted by a neighbor and are unable to do anything about it, her testimony prevented me to the police about 3 years, 2 to 3 years ago, whenever that incident occurred. Her testimony to the police prevented me from pressing charges against my neighbor. And she insists on telling those lies. And not only telling the lies, she's spread through the neighborhood these lies that I'm the one who actually assaulted my neighbor, not the other way around. I was physically restrained by 2 of them. I went over there to ask if they could please turn their music down, and I was physically restrained by 2 of them. One of them smacked me in the face. I tried to push them away from me. Maybe if she actually did see it, which I question whether or not she did, if she actually did see it, maybe that's what she saw as me trying to push my neighbor away from me. Because again, I was restrained and was assaulted. And in response, he smacked me again. That's what happened. But she says she saw the whole thing and that I was the one who assaulted him. That's what she told the police. Prevented me from pressing charges. In fact, I was told by the officers on that day that if I decided on that, for one, based on Ms. Hurley's testimony, that I was unable to, they were unable to press charges or take any action. And that if I wanted to take action on my own privately, that I would likely come back, I would be the one charged based on Ms. Hurley's testimony. I take that very personally.
So that was 2 to 3 years ago. And have you ever gotten an apology from Ms. Hurley by saying those words, I'm waiting?
And absolutely not. In fact, my wife tried to reason with her, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago. She's here with me right now if you'd like to hear from her at some point.
So it hasn't worked.
It has not.
Okay. Do you believe it will work if you keep doing that?
I have hope that
Why do
eventually
you have hope of
conscious will
that?
get the best, that her conscious will get the best of her, and that she will acknowledge and apologize, and preferably go to around the rest of the neighborhood and let them know that what she's told them wasn't true.
All right. So what about this allegation that, not quite sure when it happened, but that you've said you're never going to stop, you're never going to leave this alone? Tell me about that allegation.
Well, I think it's the video also clarifies that.
All right.
But what I have said in the past, including on, I believe on the first is the incident that she is referred to, is that she refuses to acknowledge and apologize, to leave me alone, and that just let it go. That she wants me to just let it go. And I say, no, never. Not until you apologize.
So you won't let it go, meaning what? That you're not going to continue to say still waiting, asking for the apology?
And keep in mind, one of the things that she's been saying is that this happens every once or twice a week. Not true. Every once in a while, when I am out in the yard or whatever, and I see her, I will say those 2 words, still waiting. That's it. Just those 2 words. And I'm thinking maybe 3 times this year. So maybe on average once every 2 months that I will say this. I have very little contact with her.
So how big are your properties? You share a fence. And so how much?
About, I think something on the order of a 1/4 acre lots.
Okay. And yet you have a public sidewalk in the area that you live. All right, and you all use the same road and the same sidewalk and
I'll use the
yeah,
sidewalk maybe 3 times a week to go get the mail, and that's it.
okay. All right, so 2 to 3 years ago, not 6, you got assaulted by your neighbor.
Correct.
Ms. Hurley believes her information is true. We heard from her. She told the cops, probably talked about it to others in the neighborhood, is what I'm hearing. You want an apology, and that's why for 2 or 3 years you've been saying, when you see you're still waiting,
Correct.
and that you're not going to stop expecting that apology. You're going to continue this. Is that fair? Is that what I'm hearing?
That has been my intention, yes.
Okay. And it hasn't worked yet.
Hasn't worked yet.
Okay. And all right. And so do you think that by continuing this, it's going to wear her down to kind of say, okay, I apologize, or what? Will that be sincere?
Well, like I was trying to say earlier, my wife tried to explain to her that all I wanted was an apology. And apparently Miss Hurley said that she's afraid to acknowledge and apologize because
Well, I
she's
can't really
afraid I
hear all
might
about
press
that.
charges. That
I'll
she,
ask Ms. Hurley that, but your
my wife's
wife
here if
talking
you'd like
to
to
Ms.
speak.
Hurley and then talking to you is,
Yeah,
I don't
my
know.
wife
I
is right
can't.
here if you'd like to hear from her.
Well, I'm going to hear from Ms. Hurley about that too. But so, all right. And then, okay. Let me see if there's anything else to ask you. It's a pretty slim petition. I think that's probably why an order wasn't issued, because it was so slim. That's why we have these hearings. What if you never get an apology, Mr. Neal?
Well, 2 words, still waiting. I mean, does
Okay.
it really meet the definition of, what was that, unlawful harassment?
Yeah. All
It
right.
would meet the definition of unlawful harassment?
Well, I have another question. Is there anything more you want to tell me, Mr. Neal?
Absolutely. As far as her allegations of what slurs, obscenities, religious torment, all of the things that she's put in writing, none of it happened. Maybe prior to, it's possible, I have no memory of it, but it's possible that I may have referred to her as a bitch. Not something I would normally do. What's more likely is maybe once I had muttered to myself loud enough to where she could hear, that. But since then, since that video was taken 2 to 3 years ago, absolutely not. No obscenities, no religious torment, no slurs, racial or otherwise. None of that is true. There's no video evidence of any of it, as she has claimed, because none of it ever happened. My concern, one of my primary concerns here is given I am, she has demonstrated to me her clear willingness to lie to law enforcement and the judicial system in her statements, in writing, her willingness to lie. And if you or grant this order, this no contact order, what further jeopardy might that put me in response to her willingness to lie? I mean, in that video, if the video, I asked her, she said that I deserved to be punched in the face. And I asked her, are you really saying that I deserve that? And she says, yes. So, I mean, if she has that kind of contempt toward me, what else is she willing to do? And if she's got a protection order behind her, what more would she be potentially willing to do to, I don't know, get back at me, whatever? I mean, how much her willingness to lie with the protection order behind her might put me in some serious jeopardy. That's my biggest concern.
I mean, she already put cameras in her.
All right, so I don't have any further questions of you, Mr. Neal, nor do I have any further questions of Ms. Hurley. All right, so I am going to issue an order, Mr. Neal. It does meet the definition of unlawful harassment, the taunting that you've been committing for at least 2 to 3 years, if not 6. You know, you're both credible, but what we're talking about is a knowing and willful course of conduct committed by you directed at Ms. Hurley, which is detrimental, harasses, or annoys. I'm just looking back to the statute here, and causes a reasonable person, not just Ms. Hurley, but a reasonable person, to suffer substantial emotional distress, and actually causes that and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. All of that is met here. We've heard from both of you. I kind of gave you an opportunity there too. What are you going to do? This hasn't worked. You're continuing to taunt, continue to harass your neighbor in that way. It's unlawful when you've targeted her and have caused this emotional distress, has caused an increase in anxiety medication because of you. You're not getting the apology, apparently. Stop it. I'm going to make an order that's very concise. What I'm going to say is you don't contact Ms. Hurley in any way, shape, or form. You don't talk to her. You don't pantomime to her. You don't talk to her through family, through friends, through social media. In any way, you don't talk to her. You don't contact her in any way. That's the order. So I'm not going to say that you have to stay away from, as you live next door, but you're not coming up to her and staring at her and talking to her. You're not passing messages through her. You're not contacting her in any way. So, and not under your breath that she may overhear. The calling someone a bitch is not unlawful harassment. It's just ugly. The issue is this repeated course of events that you've continued at, and you say that you will continue at. And that's the taunting. So that stops now. So I'll sign an order here that says, do not attempt or have any contact, including non-physical contact, directly, indirectly, through third parties, regardless of those third parties know of this order, except for service of court documents with Ms. Hurley. That's the sum of this order. So follow that order for the next year. Will be in effect until June 16th of 2026 because of your actions of unlawful harassment. This order is available through the Zoom instructions. You can certainly contact my clerk to get a copy of it. But there is no need to serve you notice as you've been here throughout. You know the order. Unfortunately, the way to enforce this is Ms. Hurley would call 911. But that is a very particular order that you don't contact her. And I think that will solve the issue here, is my hopes. Now, Ms. Hurley, if you feel the need to enforce it, then it's up to you to enforce it through 911. If you feel the need, as we come to next spring, for the court to consider issuing this order for a longer period of time, we have to have another hearing. You need to come to the court, ask for the court to do that, give notice to everyone, and we'd have another hearing about that. See, but I'm hoping that a year order will stop this forever. Point this out. So, Mr. Neal, any question about what you're prevented from doing?
Well, no, Your Honor, I do have concerns about my recourse should she want to tell lies again. If she reports my contacting her when I hadn't contacted her, what's this leaves me vulnerable. You realize that, right?
Well, I find that there is unlawful harassment committed by you. The law allows me to do this. I think it's appropriate and I'm doing it. We would have a hearing should that ever happen. And everyone would be present and it would be tested. So that's it for today. That's your job, no contact. Any questions, Ms. Hurley?
No, I would just like a copy of it.
Yeah, we'll give you a copy because you're here. Mr. Neal, feel free to contact the court if you want a copy. Use your Zoom instructions to get into the court files you did before. It'll be there by this afternoon and it's in effect now.
Okay,
Right. That's all for today. Be on your way, Mr. Neal.
Thank you.
And you can just hang out there while I get this done.